Greetings Internet. Today it is time for the next one in my river walk series, and today we're going to go down the Rivelin Valley. Much like the River Loxley, this is another river which kind of starts with a reservoir. It starts further up there on the other side of the reservoir as the Rivelin Brook and sort of comes down the side as the River Rivelin, and obviously the reservoir can overflow into it if it wants to. There's not much coming out at the moment. It's a bit dry, although it does appear that on the other side, much like the Damflask Dam and the River Loxley, down at the bottom there's more coming out underneath the dam. But yeah, so today we are going to go basically down that way through all these trees and back to Sheffield, and we'll end up joining the River Loxley, as you'll possibly remember where those meet from my video about that. It is a little bit on the sunny side for me today personally, especially for someone who mostly owns clothes which are all black, but hopefully that will make for nice video and photos, which is, you know, the most important thing. If I'm a bit sweaty by the end of this walk, so be it. There are, it seems, quite a lot of trees out here. Sheffield, down there somewhere. Had to go a bit of a way around to get down to the river level through all this lovely woodland, which, you know, seems to be a fairly small, not very used path. But I'm starting to get to the point where I can hear the river in the background. In fact, I think it's probably just down there. But I guess we've got to go a bit further down. There we go, my first sighting of the River Rivelin proper, rather than, you know, just a little trickle of water next to a dam. It's like I knew today was going to be at least a little bit on the warm side, but at least when I was waiting for the bus to get here there was a bit of a breeze, and I'm currently, you know, it's fairly shaded back here, and I honestly don't feel particularly warm, but I'm quite literally dripping with sweat. Apparently that bit I've just come through was a nature reserve, you know, which makes sense. It looks fairly untouched. Now we go back down to the water and cross over to the other side. I have apparently accidentally picked the advanced way to cross the river. I'm not sure if my balance is ready for that. We have to leave the river briefly for a moment, and unfortunately now walk down quite a busy road, as it's one of the main ways to Manchester. And much like the Loxley Valley, the reason we have to do that is Yorkshire Water Facilities. Has anyone lost their keys? Yep, that's where we're going. I just realised that this bit of the road here is a bridge. I think we must be coming back to the river again. At this point, leaving the main road just behind me, I think I can make it most of the way back to Sheffield with, you know, staying completely within sort of nature. It gets pretty close to, you know, some civilization in some places, but there's always like a border of boundary of green, at least based on my Google Maps investigations. We'll find out when we get closer to the city, I guess, because as I mentioned in my Loxley video, I haven't actually ever been on any of this river before. Sorry ducks, I guess you probably think I've got some bread, but I'm afraid I don't. You know, get away from civilization, he said. Immediately comes across a car park. Kind of odd how, you know, random nature reserve paths sort of that are within the Rivelin Valley, completely deserted and seemingly hardly ever used. But as soon as you get to the official Rivelin Valley Trail, there's tons of people everywhere. Walkers, dog walkers, cyclists, there's even people swimming in the river. It's suddenly really busy, which, you know, I guess is to be expected for a nice day, but on a Wednesday afternoon, for that many people to be free to do stuff, I mean, I guess why not, but yeah. Seemingly not big on bridges in the Rivelin Valley. And again, But I just realised this is something else, because that's flowing the wrong direction. That's the Rivelin coming that way, and then this is coming that way, so I don't know what that is. It is super peaceful out here, but you can also tell that you're not that far away from civilization. You can like hear buses and traffic in the background in the distance and stuff, but it's lovely so far. You know, looking at the map, I think my original intention was to go that way, but thankfully there are alternatives. High or low, high or low, always low. One of the reasons I like doing these river walks is that if you follow the direction of the water, you're generally mostly heading downwards. Still no bridges. Well, I mean, you know, there are some bridges, but I've certainly not seen as many stepping stones on the other rivers so far. Getting a bit more park-like over here. So at this point I've seen quite a few people swimming in the river, and I've got to admit, after 2.5 hours in 28 degree weather, I am kind of tempted to have a paddle. I'm probably not going to, because you know I would have to make the effort to take my shoes and socks off, and I'm too warm and tired to do that, but you know, it's tempting. Even over there's some kind of paddling pool type place, but I'm guessing isn't open, because on a day like this it would be full of children if it was. Probably not a big draw on a Wednesday afternoon in September usually. The weather today is a bit of an anomaly. I certainly hope so. I'm warm and tired at this point. So the thing about the Rivelin seems to be that it's got the oldest of the industry. It's got all these weirs, each of which is named after a wheel which is no longer there. And you know, there's just a bunch of sort of large stone bricks lying around, and that's it. Whereas the Don and the Loxley have a bunch of industry that's still there and more modern, whereas everything down here seems to be a lot more ancient and have disappeared a longer time ago. The other thing this river has been is the busiest of all the ones I've been on so far. I think I've seen more other people walking down these paths today than I've seen on all the other previous rivers combined. I'd say possibly that could be because it's such a nice day. But I always do these walks on a weekday afternoon, you know, which is not the most popular time for such things. So yeah, I just reckon this one's pretty popular, and for good reason. And here we are, coming towards the end, getting out into civilization again. And then finally here we are back at where the Rivelin, over there, joins the Loxley. So that's the end for today. I've got to admit I am quite tired and quite hot at this point, but that has been a mostly lovely walk. It's maybe not the best place to sign off, right next to a main road, but this is where the river ends. There's the one thing about this one I will say is that there were so many trees. I think I want to see this one again when the colours of autumn all come in. I imagine that would be pretty awesome. but aside from that, it's time to get on a tram and go home. So, you know, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.